written about him with that particular lyric.
Yeah, I mean, you have to hand it to him. I mean, he's taken some criticism about the Son of God logo there, but he is an outstanding fighter. It's fair to say he's had an easier route to the final than Carl Froch has, but in getting here, he hasn't even been in a close fight. Some people are saying he's had it easy. I think he's made it easy, and there's a big difference in that. He's rough and he's tough. He's not a puncher, but don't be mistaken, you cannot afford to allow him to tee off on you. The performance against Mikel Kessler was tremendous, and I think that makes him a slight favourite tonight. This is a 50-50 match we have in our hands here, but maybe Ward a slight favourite.
Especially at home. British fighters this year have the record of 2 wins, 1 draw and 8 defeats away from home. Most recently, of course, Amir Khan last week against Lamont Peterson. But he just loves the business, this fella, Carl Froch. I think he relishes this, loves it.
Well, I think he waited a long time for the limelight. He knew, I mean, he was calling out Joe Kozaki all those years ago when people shook their head about it. But he couldn't have been far wrong. He wasn't that far behind Joe Kozaki, and he's proved that in his career since. If you look through his record, he has a better pedigree than Andre Ward. But will his toughness and his natural strength be able to counteract the speed and the all-round talents of Andre Ward? That's what we're here to find out.
There is a rising sense of expectation and excitement here. This, the final. There's Rachel, Carl's partner. They've got a little son called Rocco, delightful son. Eddie Hearn, his promoter. Last minute words, but the time for words has finished. There've been lots of them, but a lot of respect as well. These two guys know that the man in the other corner is very good.
Well, both guys know they are facing the toughest opponents of their careers. Froch is the hardest man that Ward has faced, and vice versa. So this is all going to be about who makes the best use of the skills that he's been blessed with. Who can give that little bit extra? Who can adapt as the fight goes along? There's going to be changes during the 12 rounds here. Who can adapt best to that? Can Froch adapt to this man's speed? Can he adapt to the strength and power of Carl Froch? Terrific match, and it's going to be a great fight.
Andre Ward, who we thought looked a bit edgy at the weigh-in, but that might be a good thing. That might have been the adrenaline flowing. Or did he start to realise he's in quite deep? Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and welcome to Boardwalk Hall here in Atlantic City, New Jersey, for the much anticipated featured bout of the evening as Goose and Tudor Promotions, Antonio Leonard Productions, and Matchroom Sport in association with Caesars Atlantic City and Showtime, sponsored by Corona and Azad Watches, present the Super 6 World Boxing Classic Final. This unification championship is sanctioned by the WBC, President Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor Bob Yalen, the WBA President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor Guy Jutras, and the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. The chairman is Tony Orlando, Commissioner Aaron Davis. Our physicians at ringside, Dr. Blair Bergen, Dr. Mark Shaber, Dr. Eric Wormser, and Dr. Dominic Coletta. Timekeeper at the bell tonight, Arthur Spell. Introducing to you our 3 judges scoring from ringside. From England, John Keane. From Canada, Craig Metcalf. And from the United States, John Stewart. And our third man to the ring, the referee in charge, will be giving instructions after the introductions, Steve Smoger. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of action scheduled for the Super 6 World Boxing Classic Final and the unified WBA and WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Atlantic City, New Jersey, it's showtime! Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red, white, and blue trunks, hailing from and proudly representing the Bay Area and Oakland, California. He weighed in at the super middleweight limit of 168 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign with a record of 24 wins, no losses, with 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome one of the young stars of boxing, the U.S. Olympic gold medalist and the current undefeated WBA super middleweight champion of the world, introducing Andre S.O.G. Ward. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks with silver trim, known as boxing's pride of Nottingham, England. He weighed in at a ready 167.5 pounds with a record of 28 wins, 1 loss. He has 20 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome England's finest, the longtime British and Commonwealth champion, the reigning and defending two-time WBC super middleweight champion of the world, introducing Carl the Cobra Froch.
Switch on. Okay, you ready? You want to do it?
And once again, a referee in charge now to give instructions, Steve Smoger.
All right, gentlemen, you were given your instructions in your individual dressing rooms. Please obey my commands, respect the bell, and above all, protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves. God bless you both.
Steve Smoger is a referee in vogue. He got the Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito fight a couple of weeks ago. He's refereed in 4 countries in the last month or so, including a trip to Australia. And he'll let them fight. He's a throwback ref with a couple of throwback fighters.
Yep, he's not a squeamish referee, and that's what we're going to need tonight, because Carl Froch is going to have to declare war, and he wants a referee that will allow him to fight his kind of fight.
Froch will be coming out for the 200th professional round of his career, and this will be the 73rd he's had at world title level. Ward's only had 50 less, by the way, despite being perceived as the younger, fresher man. He is younger by 7 years. Now, can Froch make an early statement, Jim? Sometimes he's a slow starter.
I think he realises he cannot afford to be chasing the fight here. Froch does have an excellent left jab. He doesn't always make full use of, but he's going to have to do that here. Cannot allow Ward with his speed to dictate the pace. He's claiming the centre of the ring. He's pushing Ward back, but Ward is comfortable on the back foot, trying the power shot straight away. Froch.
Punch out. Try to get out yourself.
Froch fancies he's the man with the edge in power.
Try to punch out. That's it.
Nice left hand there. The first really significant shot came from Ward, who's clever and often throws punches leading with the backhand. That's the hand furthest from the target, which is a surprise weapon. But of course, Froch has seen the tapes. He does know about it.
Yeah, and he also switches to southpaw and leads with the backhand. He's just a little bit quicker at the moment than Froch. I think that left hook is surprised Froch with the snap in it. I think Froch was expecting the referee to call Drake. He didn't, and he took that left hook. Froch is losing his defences a little bit there.
Vital who establishes the jab here. There is a 4-inch reach advantage for Froch, but that might not prove very significant given Ward's speed.
Yeah, Ward finding them with the jab there. It's the left hook, a good right hand, and a jab from Ward. The best punches so far. A decent right hand we've seen back from Carl Froch. It's the speed and the unconventional things that Ward does. But you'll notice already, Ward has not, well, he's taking the centre of the ring. He's not surrendering it to Froch. Quick jab again from Ward.
Froch has got him with a couple of his own, one to head, one to body, but there it is, almost, well, Cobra-like from Ward. Of course, it's Froch who's the man who's got the Cobra as his nickname, but there's definitely a speed advantage for Ward here.
Nice little feint there from Froch as well. You have to do that with awkward opponents, to show a little feint, cause him to make the first move. Kind of clumsy left hook there from Carl. So difficult to be dealing with his speed, but they've got right down to business, haven't they?
Very clever fighter, quite hard to line up, Andre Ward. I think Mikhail Kessler, who's top class, just couldn't ever really get going against him.
I think Kessler was surprised at the physical strength of Ward. He's not a puncher, but don't go into that ring thinking that he's not tough and strong and wiry. I think it surprised Kessler, and maybe it's surprising Carl Froch here. He's catching with the jab. His nose is reddening already. You can't telegraph right hands like Froch has just done there.
Ward edging this opening session. That's the impression anyway. Little right hand, they didn't land cleanly. Little half smile played across the lips of Froch at the end of round one.
Listen, you've got to be much sharper this one, guys. It's way too basic and sloppy, right? You gave him a couple of jabs there, and he probably just pinched it because he weren't doing it. Right? Slow, don't load it. You can't load up this kid. Work the 1-2s and 1-2s off his shoulder, and then go again. How many shots gone now? Come on, shoot that.
Carl Froch ready for round two here. Don't think they were too happy. Robert McCracken, of course, the trainer in the corner, who'll be working with Britain's Olympic boxers in London next summer, but he's got a big job here tonight. These two have almost done a psychological profile of one another in the profile. Almost do credit to Cracker, the old detective of the TV series. They know each other inside out, these two.
Froch just has to be careful he doesn't tense up in there. Has to keep that a little bit relaxed so the punches will flow. Burn up that energy as well if you're a little bit tense. Ward holding Froch's left glove up close. That left hook is working up close. I think they've studied the low guard of Froch. He's coming back with that left hook at the end of every exchange, Ward. This is good stuff from Ward. This is eye-catching.
Doubled up with the jab and then found that left hand again. And at the moment, Froch just a little bemused by the talent in front of him. He's a very clever, quick-handed and quick-footed operator, Andre Ward. And Froch can't afford to fall 3 or 4 rounds behind at the beginning of this.
See, he sees Froch setting something up and he just takes a little half step back. See there, you saw it there. Froch has to reach or change his mind about throwing the punch. If he reaches, he's going to be countered. I mean, he's clever. He does a lot of things that are not obvious, Andre Ward, and that's what makes him so difficult to deal with. Good job there from Froch.
That was probably his best one so far. Froch does take time sometimes to get into a contest, but he does have a way of getting it done in the end. But that low slung guard he's always had it, of course, and he's had a great career with it. But tonight against the speed merchant, will it cost him?
See, Froch can leap, Ward can leap in with punches, and that's the difference between the two. He's out of range and suddenly is sprung in and led with that left hook. Froch can't do that. He has to box his way in behind the jab. Good left hook from Ward.
Froch has to do something here to just break the ring of confidence of Ward, take him to a darker place than he's known before, bust him up, break his rhythm. Harder to do than say.
At the moment, Froch is trying to land without being hit, which is what this game is all about, but it might reach the position where he's just going to have to throw caution to the wind a bit more, declare war and just drag this fellow into a war, take punches to land better ones, because he's been outsped at the moment.
Good comeback though there from Froch.
That was good.
Just found, and then getting in with a few body shots, clubbed with the left hand, had a hint to the inside of the glove. I thought about that one from Ward.
That is what Froch has to do, change the tempo. At the moment the tempo suits Ward. I think he just left it a little bit late to save the round, but a lot of better work from Carl Froch there.
Well, probably the first 2 rounds to Ward, but were there 1 or 2 signs in the last 30 seconds that Froch was getting a little more to grips with it?
I think you saw when Carl declared war on Ward, took the smoothness away from him. He wasn't all that comfortable. Just this little exchange here. It was too late in the round to save the round on my card, and he did take a left hook for his troubles. But you can see his single punch is no good. Has to put them together, has to impose himself on Ward.
Third round of this, intriguing for the WBC and WBA super middleweight titles in the final of the splendid Super 6 competition. Great groundbreaking idea, more of the same please. In an era, of course, when pathetically they can't get Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao to fight each other, but that's another issue.
I think in the opening round, Carl was going to sleep when they were up close, but now he's letting the punches go quickly, not allowing Ward to set the punches up. Better plan now, trying to put punches together as that quick jab of Ward's.
Keeps landing with that, and of course pretty open to the head. Froch, not a lot of head movement, but he's an old warrior who's good at working things out. Again, Ward dominating. He's winning the battle of the jabs at the moment, Jim.
And he's holding the centre of the ring, which is a little bit alarming. Carl is wide open. I mean, he threw the jab there, and the right hand went away down to his chest. He was wide open there as he led off. He's going to have to tighten things up, get close with a tight defence, but that's never the way he's boxed.
Froch was told, I think, to throw punches in bunches, not single shots that can be countered. And while he waits, there's a better bit of work from Froch, that body shot.
That one kind of landed round in the kidney region, which wouldn't be a point-scoring shot. Just the speed of Ward is a problem. Maybe when we get a few rounds behind us and the pace slows a little bit, that's better from Froch. A little bit wild and woolly, but a good right hand nevertheless.
It is a bit like a convention of the unconventional with these two fighters. That's a sharp right this time again. The speed of hand is a problem for Carl Froch of Nottingham.
I think, like previous opponents, Froch is surprised at the strength of Andre Ward. He's not a puncher, so you think you're going to bully him in there, but he's strong enough, he's tough enough. Proved that against Kessler, and he's proving it again here.
That's the common opponent, isn't it? Kessler well beaten by Ward, but he did beat Carl Froch on a kind of racing form line. That's why Ward's favourite, especially at home. He could be an enormous talent down the line. He could be a new Floyd Mayweather, maybe, in terms of technical skills.
See, I just think the problem, Carl doesn't know how to surprise him. He sees exactly what's coming from Froch, and he's ready to counter it. There it is again. It's as though he has everything worked out. Good defence from Ward there.
Body shot there was a hard one from Ward, and then a head punch as well, starting to set his feet and get a bit more serious. Froch has had his moments in this round, but again, not enough of them.
Okay, double up your jab more in the chest now as you feint him, okay? Can you feint him?
Virgil Hunter, the godfather of Andre Ward. He's known him since he was 9, took him to the Olympic title, and now a world championship. Very cool, analytical type.
Yeah, it's a happy corner. They'll be quite pleased. The fact that he can claim the centre of the ring for quite a lot of the time, they'll be pleased with that.
He's probably lost all 3 rounds, Carl Froch, but he has got to Ward with a few significant body shots. Will the later stages of this be more Froch's territory? That's a good shot.
Oh, good left hook. That left hook as the punch has troubled Froch right from the opening round, right from the first few seconds of the opening round. There it is again.
We're getting some really good exchanges here, and Froch trying to match Ward punch for punch at the moment. Ward still looks the boss, and they had the last word with the final left hook. But will the body punches of Froch maybe just take a little out of Ward for later?
The Ward has such a good defence too. I mean, we haven't seen him taking really clean shots to the chin or really to the rib cage either. That's a good left hook from Froch, but it was blocked.
Got in with the jab that time, Carl Froch.
The toughest opponents to deal with are counter punchers who come forward, and that's what Ward is doing. He's coming forward, forcing Froch into throwing the punches, then countering with 1, 2, 3 left hooks. This is terrific stuff from Andre Ward. He's a class act.
Yeah, he's a box of tricks. There's a right hand as well, which I don't think Froch kind of knew was coming. You won't find his style in the textbook, but it works enormously well for him, and he gets in with another right. He's getting the better of this argument at the moment. Froch has to find a way of just breaking the pattern here a little bit, and catches 2 more.
I mean, the quality there from Ward, the little feint before he went to work. I mean, a tremendous performance from Carl Froch, But if the fight stays at this pace, it's going to slip away from him. He needs to find a way to drop the pace, impose himself on Ward. But I think Ward is, good left hook there from Froch.
And he is heavy-handed. He doesn't tend to take people out with one punch, but he can get to you, Froch. And he might believe that the last 3 or 4 rounds of this might be more his territory. But this is physical. This is what Froch wants, isn't it?
He's the one, but Ward is the one pushing Froch back to the ropes. We expected to see this the other way.
Well, this is macho stuff from Ward. He's trying to prove to Froch that he can be the boss in there too.
Yeah, and he's happy to stay that left hook again from Ward.
There's a great body shot from Froch in there, mind you, Jim. Very good body punch from Froch. This is getting rugged, rough, and increasingly fascinating.
And this kind of action, it's the man who's forced to work at this pace that tires first. And I think Ward is the one who's initiating the attacks. But a great response there from Carl Froch. But there's that left hook again.
Well, this is just some of the action in the phone booth in that last round, Jim.
Yeah, look who's doing the pushing back to the ropes. We thought that would have been Carl Froch, but it's not. It's Andre Ward. And here's the exchange. We'll see who comes up with it, the last punch of it. Usually it's the left hook. Would you guess it? There's that left hook again, which is working so well for Andre Ward. Terrific performance.
It's almost like he's trying to say to Froch, I can be the boss if it gets physical as well, because Carl Froch had a lot to say in the build-up to this fight about how he was the tougher guy who could take it into the trenches.
Well, Froch must realise by now he's not going... Oh, beautiful left hook. That was a solid shot. He must know he's not going to outbox Andre Ward. He's going to have to declare war on him. But he's not even coming out and talking to do that. Shoving the inside of the glove into Froch's face there, Ward. He's been accused of being dirty. Smoger didn't spot that.
Good body shots on the inside. He was saying the other day that he thinks European fighters are vulnerable to the body. He said he noticed that watching a few Europeans. So that's the old Anglo-American rivalry raising its head. I think he said of last week, Lamont Peterson went over Amir Khan. That's 1 down, 1 to go. A rare show of bravado from Ward, who's pretty self-deprecating. They're 2 impressive guys out of the ring, these 2.
First little sign that Ward was doing a little bit of spoiling there. Just grabbing Froch around the head. Just the first little sign that maybe he wants to drop the pace a little bit. Froch doing the leading off there, but back comes Ward again. With
the body punching. Froch needs to win a round here, Jim, sometime soon.
Either that or he needs to land a big punch and hurt Ward and give him the confidence that he can get him out of there.
This is a guy, though, Carl Froch, who pulled it back against Jermaine Taylor behind on the cards with 14 seconds to go over here. Don't write him off. Never write him off, really. But he's getting outboxed a lot of the time here. We thought he might be at times by Andre Ward, who is reinforcing the impression that he is a real talent in this business. Now then, Froch has him going backwards for the first time in giving ground. Ward gives a half smile as if to say, yep, I love all that too.
Now, you know, that might have looked a little bit clumsy, Ian, but he's going to have to do that. He's going to be prepared to miss with some punches to get some home. It looked a bit clumsy. His left foot overtaking his right foot, but he's going to have to do unorthodox things. A bit more of that, I wouldn't mind.
I think he knows already in there that Ward is a tough guy too. I think he was just trying to get under his skin a bit, to be honest with you. Froch win a psychological battle, but he might have to do that. He might just have to walk through walls, walk through punches to get his own in.
Well, this is a closer round.
Bit better from Froch this time round. He must hope this is a little turning of the tide.
Yeah, well, he's got a lot of punches off here.
Great jab. Tremendous jab, and not so accurate or sharp in return that time from Ward. Again, good from Froch. In and out and away, and again,
good shot.
Ward outboxed. He outboxed Ward for the last minute of that round. Froch wins that one. That one may have been the first round, though, the 5th that Carl Froch has won. Quite a sight here.
Listen to me. Listen, don't sit back looking at him, because every time you do, he just hits you with a jab, all right? Relax. Put your legs out. Listen. Every time you sit back, he hits you with a jab, all right? 1-2s, 1-2 ups, and then you've just...
Yeah, Ward started the round very well, picking up lovely shots, but then little signs that he wanted to spoil up close, not work at the same rate, which allowed Froch to get right back into it. And I think Froch produced the best form of the fight for him so far. He kept the punches flowing, he used up a lot of energy in doing so. Carl does throw arm punches, which do use up a lot of energy, but I thought he had a couple of good spells in that round, and I thought maybe he just did enough to nick it.
I thought he did too. Don't know whether the judges did. There won't be any row about a hometown decision here, though. We've got an American judge, a British judge, John Keane, very experienced, and a Canadian as well. But Froch has work to do here. He's caught with the right hand there. Just hang in there, and Ward picked him off.
See, that is where Ward is so good, having the last little punch and the exchanges when they're up close. Carl seems to fall asleep at times as though he's waiting for the referee to break them up, but Ward keeps working.
Obsessive about boxing, Andre Ward. Studied it from when he was a kid. Almost geekish, according to one observer I spoke to.
He's waiting for the jab now. He wants Froch to lead, he's waiting for it and countering with his own. You can see him. Carl's the Cobra, but at the moment, Froch is behaving like one, just trying to draw that jab so as he can counter it.
Super sharp early, Andre Ward here, and again a three-punch combination. Class operator. Froch knows how classy, I think, now.
See, traditionally British fighters are not good at this kind of action up close, the bursts of punches. We like to do it at long range, work behind the jab, and that's what Carl likes to do. Ward is not allowing it. Oh, lovely left hook again. He's just picking some beautiful punches.
But we're not even at the halfway stage yet, and everybody thinks this is a likely points decision type of battle. Most of these fights in this series have a good right uppercut from Ward that time. I think he wants to knock out Froch, you know, here and prove him wrong. He said, "You never will knock me out."
But I think Mikel Kessler was shocked at the strength up close of Andre Ward, and I think the same things happened to the Froch camp. But I swore I would never again complain about where Carl carries his left hand. Another good hook from Ward. But really, you've got to get that left hand up.
Caught again there. Froch going with a couple of his own. Tries to bully Ward, but Ward's having none of that at all. Again, barges Froch up against the ropes, and as if to say, it's almost a macho thing with him, I think, here to make a point to Carl Froch.
And Ward is better at nullifying up close than Carl is. Oh, beautiful left hook again. He's better at the old pro tricks than Carl is. Carl wants to stand there and exchange punches. Ward is doing the little gymnasium, slightly nasty stuff, if you like.
He does have this iron chin, though, Carl Froch. Everything just seems to bounce off him. He never seems to be dazed. I know Taylor had him down in the third round, but apart from that, these rounds are going in the bank for the American, I think.
When you can't throw and leave your feet behind. When he steps out of range, you've got to go in with 3 shots, 1 to hook or 1 double jab right hand. You can't just throw 1 shot and keep your feet there, because he'll counter you. Have a drink. Yeah, have a drink. Well, they're gonna, ain't they? You've got to move your head and move your feet quicker. You can't sit in there.
Halfway.
Listen, okay. Listen, you've got to shorten it up inside. You can't go big and wide, because he just nicks the odd eye-catching shot inside. Yeah,
When you got to finish it, tough, okay? Now, you got to start doubling up the jab for me, but don't reach for him, okay? That's going to keep him occupied, okay? Keep him busy and occupied. Just don't let him keep getting used to one little rhythm and stuff like that. Feint, keep him busy. On the ropes next time.
Virgil Hunter, he won 114 out of 119 in the amateurs as well. I think he's a bit resentful that he never got the big glamour boy treatment that Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather and the like got after his Olympic gold medal, and he was in the shadows on the back burner. Well, back burner, he wasn't even in the kitchen really for the first part of his career.
Well, he could well make up for that if this continues.
7th round, second half of the fight. Froch here having to meet fire with fire. There's been some furious exchanges.
I said he was going to have to take shots to land shots. He wasn't going to outbox this guy. That's what's happening at the moment. But the better punches are coming from Ward.
This is proving a very, very tough night indeed for Carl Froch. Again, Ward leans on him. He's not frightened to make it physical. He's not on the outside. He's in the zone there. But Froch just can't throw these punches in bunches that he needs, really.
I mean, Ward teed off on him there with the right hand lead. He's done it again with the left hook. Carl just cannot deal with the speed of the punches coming his way. These are hurtful punches. He's the toughest man on the planet. But that's been put to the test in this round.
Terrific stuff, really, so far, you have to say it, from Andre Ward. Can Froch find an answer again, this back from the brink specialist?
When you're the one who has been forced to work at this pace, you're the one who loses steam and goes tired, and that's what's happening here. Froch is deciding when to go to war, when to have a breather. He's controlling the action.
Speedy burst again from Andre Ward. Froch must be wondering, will he ever tire? Will he ever fade? Can I ever really get a foothold here?
Well, we're beginning to see he hasn't even been in a close fight in the Super 6 tournament. We're beginning to see why. I mean, this is a terrific performance. Concentration every second there. Sees exactly what Froch is about to do and takes it away from him. Don't quite know. If I wouldn't like Robert McCracken's job tonight, I wouldn't know quite what to tell Carl here.
Well, he was telling some of the reporters he's just going to try to walk through walls if he has to get it done. But he's just been outsmarted most of the way so far. Froch, he's trying desperately hard to claw his way back somehow, some way.
But again, he's the one being pushed onto the ropes. Who would have believed this?
Yeah.
And full credit to Steve Smoger, he's left him to it. It's been physical, it's been tough, but he's just let him go on with the job. It's been clean too.
Watching at ringside, Bernard Hopkins. Multiple world champion, of course, and still active. I wonder whether Nathan Cleverly might get a fight with him somewhere in the near future. There's talk of it.
He's still public enemy #1. You can still earn money with him. Who knows? But look at the roughness and the toughness of Ward. Digging that left hook has worked so well. I mean, it hardly moves. They talk about Joe Lewis, that the short left hook couldn't have been much shorter than the ones we've been seeing from Andre Ward tonight. Tremendous. And look, just bullying Carl at times and then tying him up. This is what he's better at than Carl, tying up inside, holding the one hand and punching with the other.
I mean, the one question really about Ward going into this was he'd never had a gut check, and we wondered, well, would Froch be the man to do that, to take him into the trenches, if you like? But maybe the reason he hasn't had it is he's been too good. Here's the scorecard so far, Jim.
Well, as you see, I have Ward 5 points up, 64-69. I've given Froch the one round, and I don't know, I'd love to be kinder to Carl, but this is tough going for him.
Tell you something, if Froch pulls this round or pulls it out from somewhere, it will be his greatest ever night.
You see the way Ward sprung in with the jab there. He's well out of range. Carl can relax, think what he's doing, and then he springs in, smacks the jab into Carl's face.
Don't punch, don't punch.
Never mind top super middleweight in the world, Andre Ward might be among the very best fighters at any weight in the world. And what we're seeing here, it's not done yet though.
Just Carl can't find the range for the jab. As a backhand he tried there.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just an eye. I mean, that was instinctive. That he's apologised himself. That was just instinctive.
Steve Smoger hasn't really had much to do. He's just let them fight inside and out. Of course, as is his wont.
Carl's leading with single punches, which is the one thing you must not do against a slickster like this. Got to follow the jab in, let the punches come. Now that's, I mean, okay, maybe breaking the rules, putting his hand on Froch's head, but it just shows he knows all the old gymnasium tricks as well.
Let's look for any signs at all of Andre Ward feeling the effects of the grueling battle. No signs at the moment, you'd have to say.
Do you know what? I wouldn't even use the jab if I was Carl Froch. I would just get close, charge in and let short punches go. Every jab he's thrown in this round has fallen short and it's been countered.
Which was always the risk. He needed to throw 3 or 4 at a time. It's easier said than, I mean, to be fair to Carl Froch, he's had this great career. He's in with real quality here tonight.
Unfortunately, at the moment, he's in with a guy who's better than he is. We just have to say that, unless he can turn this around and change what happened. Good left hook there from Froch. That's what he has to do. Boxing match, no good. He's just going to have to do it caveman style. Forget the jab, just get close and get the powerful punches off that you can.
It's rough and tough on the inside, and with every exchange there, it's almost like Andre Ward saying to Froch, see, I'm pretty tough, aren't I? What were you saying at the press conference?
Carl was actually complaining to the referee, then punching after the bell. These are all signs of frustration.
Yeah, I think they are. Now it's the writing on the wall. David Ortiz of the Boston Red Sox sitting there alongside Eddie Hearn, the promoter of Carl Froch, who understandably has a long face. He'd have to be worried.
If he's leaning in, just hit him round the back of the head and the ref will break you up. Or just roll lower and get something going underneath.
He's miles behind.
Yeah, Ward he's too quick. We expected him to be too quick, but we didn't expect him to be as tough as Carl Froch. And he is. I mean, he stood with them, he said the last word in the exchanges, and he sees what's coming back. I mean, his concentration is exceptional. Everything about him, his technique, and that was the one after the bell, when he'd already complained to Steve Smoger about something. I don't know if it was a low blow or a head in his face, I don't know.
He may not have heard the bell, I think. He seemed to be saying that. Round 9. That's understandable in all the bedlam. Into the last 4 rounds, last third of the fight. It's been largely one-way traffic so far in favour of the very, very gifted 27-year-old from Oakland, California. That's the town just across the bay from San Francisco, Andre Ward.
He hasn't switched to southpaw at any time in this fight. I wonder if that's because he reckons the way he's boxing is working. Maybe against Kessler he had to do that. Froch looking over towards the corner there. Froch is getting his chin down behind his shoulder. Maybe he's just going to try and march close. I think that's what he has to do. March close and get some punches. Don't try to go in behind the jab.
He's finding some great shots on the inside, Ward, as well here. Yeah, this is frustrating for Froch.
He found that one while Smoger was talking to the fighters. Really, that was a free shot he took there, which really he shouldn't have done. If Smoger wants to talk to them, he should break them up first. So Froch got a shot for nothing there.
By the way, Steve Smoger, the referee, said he would not have deducted any points from Amir Khan in last week's fight, in which case Khan would have been world champion with Smoger refereeing. But it's easy to say afterwards.
You know, Ian, Carl is doing the things I would suggest that he does in this round, and they're still not working. You know, he's trying to declare war, he's getting close, he's letting punches go. But this guy is a little bit special. We have to hand it to him. This is a terrific fighter we're watching here.
Come on, guys, let's keep it clean now.
Just becoming messy now.
Wild from Froch, trying to let the leather flow, but still he can't make a dent. I think Ward wants to stop him. He doesn't just want to win. He wants to make a statement by being the first man to stop Froch as well, to ram the taunts back down his throat, if you like.
This has been a scrappy round, the first scrappy round of the fight. Quality shots here from Ward again.
Great right hand at the end of it though from Froch. He found a heavy looking shot too.
Froch has done a lot of good work in this round. I think he's realised he's going to have to declare war, forget a boxing match, caveman style as I was saying, and I think he's had some success in this round.
He needed that little fillip as well. Been a bit less from Ward in this session. But he's been hit with an awful lot of shots tonight, Carl Froch. His spirit is undying, it always will be.
But still not done anything at all about his defence, has he?
It's gone southpaw for the moment. Ward there, which he likes to do. First time we've seen it tonight. Carl's mum on the right there, and Rachel, his model partner. I think everybody knows what they're watching. This is the final with 2 belts at stake. The Ring Magazine Championship, the Super Middleweight World Boxing Classic Cup. They're going to present Global Glory 2. Well, they're saying he's tiring. They're lifting Froch, or trying to, Robert McCracken in that corner. Is he tiring, Ward?
Don't think so, but Froch's got a lot more punches off there. I mean, I was suggesting forget the boxing match, just get in there, get close, find a way to get close and let some punches go, try to outwork him. You're not going to outskill him. And I think that was the free shot. I mean, at that time, see, Steve Smoger was speaking to them there. And he didn't say break, he should have done. Carl has every right to complain about that.
Round 10. I would suggest at this point, Carl Froch needs a knockout to win, or loads of knockdowns anyway.
Well, I have it 7-2 at the moment, and I don't know if one of those rounds I gave to Froch, I'm being a little bit kind, but I have it 7-2 at the moment.
88-83 is your card, Jim. Which is what you're saying, translated. Froch did a bit better in that last round.
See, I just think Ward is so relaxed. So when the punches have to come, they seem to come out of their own accord, whereas Carl's having to force to try and get himself close, force to try and get the punches on target. But everything about Ward is just so relaxed. The punches just seem to come from nowhere.
Good shot, good shot. Come on, keep him up.
It's been a stellar performance so far from Andre Ward.
Another complaint from Carl about the low shot. It was a low shot, but we're not used to seeing Carl Froch complain, are we?
Step.
He's not only outboxed him, he's out-toughed him at times. Outworked him on the inside as well. There's no shame for Froch, really. He's been fantastic, really, I think, in his career generally. There's no shame in losing to a fighter this good, if indeed he is going to lose.
And even the little spoiling tactics when he has to do it, Ward knows all the tricks. You know, getting Carl's head under his armpit there. And he's the one stepping back into the breach again.
He's so hard to catch cleanly. His footwork's so good. He can skip out of range, just skip back half a yard. His hands are very, very quick. His punches come from unconventional angles like that. A little short left hand. It hardly travels more than 6 inches or so.
Yeah, the couple of rounds that I've given Froch, you know, it's been work rate. It's not been good, clean, quality stuff, because you can't hit this guy with quality punches. He's too quick, too smooth.
Can he just find one punch to shake up the unbeaten Andre Ward, unbeaten in 24 fights, and that unbeaten run might go a lot longer.
That was a terrific left hook again, springing in with it, Ward. You know, he gives a little feint. You don't know what hand's coming at you. Then he decides in a split second, then there's a burst of punches from him again. Froch cannot out-tough him. What else is there to do? Has to nail him with one big shot.
Lovely left jab. You can put Andre Ward right in that pound-for-pound argument, I think, on what you're seeing here. He'll have more to prove. Another left hand. Froch has the look at the moment of a man who just knows he's being outsmarted in there. It's like Kessler. Kessler couldn't do anything with him. Carl Froch can't do much with him.
said it a couple of times. Kessler, they look at his record, they say he's a non-puncher, but they underestimate the toughness, the physical strength, and the way he can have the last word in the exchanges. And he's actually bullied Froch at times.
And then the ref parts you, okay? All right, what you don't do.
Set the traps as he come forward in the middle of the ring, okay? Ready? Not on the ropes. Good job, good job. Stay focused. Look, don't reach for him, take your time. He's wearing down. Every time he misses you, they take a lot out of him. We know he's gonna swing, okay? He got to. Okay, in here, bam, bam, boom, boom, okay?
He might be dominant, but he's wearing one or two of the marks of the battle. He knows he's been in a fight, Ward.
Yeah, well, early in the fight, they had the ice pack on both of his eyebrows, but they haven't worsened. But not too many clean punches. And that's been the problem for Carl Froch all the way through. But you can see the urgency in Froch coming off the stool there. He badly wants to win this. He will never give up on this.
Nice right hand again. A clever punch coming from an angle you wouldn't expect from Ward, and it comes with that rapier-like speed.
Again, punching as he moves in. You know, some fighters move into range and then let the punches go, but Ward lets them go as he's moving and springs in with the shots, and he can put them together, doesn't lose his balance when he's doing it. An amazing talent, so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, very hard to read. A bit of a Rubik's Cube, I think, for opponents. Another sharp little right-handed. Froch trying to bustle his way in, somehow break that aura that Andre Ward has about him.
What a quality burst of punching that was, counter-punching from Andre Ward. He just swayed back and came back in with three lovely punches. Quality. I mean, Froch, as usual from Carl, you're getting every ounce. He could not try any harder, could not put any more into this. But what can you do when you're facing a guy like this?
Well, you know you're going to get from Froch. He's trying to invite him in there. Ward, can he hurt him with one punch? Remember how he rescued it late on against Jermaine Taylor, but that was never as one-sided as this has been.
Did see a little worried look on Ward's face there. I wonder maybe if a little short punch landed that we didn't spot, but now he's coming back again. Good work from Froch here, but not really finding the target.
Just got to let the lever flow and hope, I think, really, Carl Froch now, that one finds the jackpot somehow to turn it all around. One equaliser, but that may be a forlorn hope, I think.
Well, Froch is now coming through the punches of Ward, and that's what he's going to have to do. He's not going to land punches without taking, but now he's prepared to walk through the shots. And that just shows how badly he wants to win this. He's giving it everything.
Maybe one or two signs of tiredness from Andre Ward in this run. He's just taken one or two little breathers for me in this session.
Just little looks of alarm on his face, I've noticed. But Carl not really finding the target.
Better from Froch. It's on his bike a little bit, like he thinks he's got it in the bag and he can coast his way home. Froch won't allow him to do that. Look at this, wading away, but in the end he did not find the target with any of those.
But he stopped Ward from being effective for a lot of this round.
Well, there's Carl Froch's Rachel. And Tiffany, the wife of Andre Ward. They've got 3 kids. The first of them when Andre Ward was 17 and a 4th on the way. She's 3 months pregnant, Tiffany.
Carry his shots away like we worked on him. Come back in for me, please.
Certainly been the daddy in there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been terrific. Just a few signs of discomfort there in the 11th round. I mean, Froch didn't find the target. I scored that round level because he was missing the target, but he took out away a lot of the smoothness from Froch.
1-2 right hand left hook and go again with that last right hand, and he stands up for it. You listening? 1-2 left hook right hand and go again with the right hand. Be switched on. Come on, head move.
The last round here in the Boardwalk Hall, the atmospheric, historic Boardwalk Hall which has seen Tyson, Lewis, Hunnigan, Foreman, Cooney, Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran. They've all fought here. And tonight, Andre Ward has put on a brilliant performance, really. Just too much on the night for Carl Froch, and this is the last round. Froch needs a knockout, no doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely, but I think the 11th round was the first time that Froch actually looked the stronger of the two, and he started the 12th the same way.
And Ward then gave him a little nod as if to say, yeah, decent shot, fantastic respect to him, and Froch has got to go for it here. If Ward's ever looked vulnerable in the fight, or even a hint of it, it's right now. A little more tired, I think, from the efforts.
Carl, over here.
Yep, definitely. Froch is looking much the stronger, maybe for the first time in the fight. The 11 rounds, the signs were there. The gum shield dropping out of his mouth. Time wasting, I'm not saying he did it on purpose. But he wants to hear the final bell a lot more than Carl Froch does.
He's put so much into this. Is a little twist late on in the plot. Ward does appear to be tiring at last after his stupendous efforts, but still finds that great left hook. It's going to take more than jabs from Froch now. What a strong man, though. After everything he's taken, he's finishing looking the stronger guy. He's incredible. He's a man of steel, Froch.
He's amazing. The term throwback has been used several times, and this is why. And never say die, never gives up. Mile behind in points, but still wants this so badly. Giving it every ounce. He said he would leave everything in the ring. That's what he's doing.
I think he's been a wonderful fighter. Nottingham is rightly proud of him, of course. Good shot there.
And that was a good response from Ward. His timing again, his timing's come back to Ward. Carl just deliberately rubbing the head in, Carl. Yeah. No, you can't get away with that.
Just a little bit to go, come on.
Yeah, just a little bit late to do that, Carl.
Good right hand, and of course Ward can see the finishing take now.
Yeah, but we're seeing smash and grab now from Ward. Land the right hand, then grab hold. He's not going to be disqualified in the last round. So just land one punch, then grab Carl. Don't allow him to come back with the counter.
Trying to buy time, there's no doubt about it. Late on, Ward, but I think he probably rightly feels the work is done. Barring something amazingly dramatic, I'm afraid to say Carl Froch is going to lose his WBC title here.
Ian, there is power in Carl Froch's punches still at this point in the fight. I don't know the same about Andre Ward, but that right hand, it didn't land cleanly, but there was a lot of power in it.
Ward was looking at the clock on the big screen as well there. Late on, it's all too late, I'm afraid, I think, for Froch. Again, he looks outside the ring and smiles.
But it's good work coming back from him as well, Ian. You know, slipping, using movement now, coming back with punches. Really, he's finishing like a champion as well. Terrific fight, terrific performance from both men. But the trophy will not be going back to Britain.
He's still upright as well. Carl Froch finished strongly, finished strong, but was outboxed and bedazzled a lot of the way in what was a quite stunning display for the most part by Andre Ward, even if he was hanging on for the last couple of rounds a little.
Yeah, but even when he was coasting, he was still coming back with punches. I did give the last round to Froch because certainly in the first 2 minutes he gave everything, every ounce he possessed. He showed in that last round how much he wanted to win this. I had such a high respect for Andre Ward before the fight. I knew how tough he was. I knew from the Kessler performance how difficult it was going to be for Carl Froch, but we could not have asked for any more from Carl. It was terrific. There you see, I have Carl tightening the scoring up, 1-1-2, 1-1-7. I was maybe kind to him in one of the rounds I gave him, but no way could I make a case for Carl Froch winning this one. I thought Ward was terrific.
Yeah, there can be no controversy about it. You can argue about the odd round here or there and the margin of victory, but there's absolutely no question that Andre Ward is a major talent, and if we didn't know it before, everybody knows it now.
That's when his gum shield came out and he didn't spit it out. It was knocked out, just as we would think. He wasn't so tired that he resorted to cheating. What an athlete, what a fighter. Tremendous.
No shame, as we were saying, for Carl Froch. He's done so well to get to this final, but Ward looks a fighter who we're going to be talking about for several years. I think he's going to be a big name. He's got just about everything. He's not a big concussive puncher, but apart from that,
no, but I tell you what, he's good to watch. He's aggressive. You know, he can fight at long range, fight up close. He can do everything. He's not a massive knockout puncher, but he's not going to be in a bad fight with that style. I just think he's terrific. I was so impressed by him tonight.
But he was looking at the clock in the last round, and seems a little pain there. Andre Ward, a tough. His nose is hurting. Apologies about the language. You'll understand we're live at a big fight. We await the decision which comes from British judge and referee John Keane, who's been a big Vegas judge in the past at some big ones there, De La Hoya fights and the like. John Stewart from the USA, Craig Metcalf from Canada. They will decide it, but there's not really a lot to decide, if we're honest with you.
No, I think you only have to look at the faces in both corners. I think it's accepted that we've seen a tremendous battle, worthy of the Super 6 tournament. Great final, tremendous action. Not a dull moment in the 12 rounds. It was fantastic. We thought the styles would gel. They certainly did. It was terrific from start to finish.
Andre Ward, a super middleweight. The king of the kings in the division. We're about to get the decision officially.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judges at ringside, John Stewart and Craig Metcalf, both scored about 115 to 113. Judge John Keane sees about 118 to 110. All three in favor of the winner. He's now the Super 6 World Boxing Classic champion. He is now the unified WBA and WBC Super Middleweight champion of the world, Andre S.O.G. Ward.
By 8 points on John Keane of Great Britain's card, but only by 2 points for John Stewart and Craig Metcalf.
Ian, I think sometimes judges, when someone is so far ahead in a fight that they can't lose, they start trimming things back a little bit. I can't see only 2 rounds in that. I thought it wasn't a dominant victory for Ward, but it was a clear victory. But if it helps Carl Froch's reputation that they only lost by 2 points, then well and good, he deserved that. But I thought it was wider. I had it by 5 points.
Yeah, I had it something like that as well. So the celebrations can begin for the Andre Ward family, which is a growing family, and I think the money's going to be rolling in.